For the National Redline Day build, I knew immediately which Redline casting I would base my build on. One of my favorite Redlines when I was young was the Harry Hauler. My father and I even carved a larger version of the Harry Hauler from a block of wood. To begin my build, I purchased a well-loved Harry Hauler casting that was missing its windshield through eBay. A replacement for the missing windshield was quickly found on eBay and purchased as well. When the car arrived, I disassembled it and then stripped off what remained of the original paint. At this point, I decided to create molds from the individual Harry Hauler components so that I could cast duplicates in resin to allow me to build my custom tribute version and save the original casting for restoration at a later date. To separate the body parts so that I could make individual molds for them, I did need to grind away a small part of the flip front hinges. This was when I found that the flip front casting itself was cracked in one corner of the rear windshield hoop. The crack was temporarily repaired with superglue so that the mold could be made. The first custom touch for this build would be to delete the massive engine and enclose the bed area with a streamlined roof. The new roof was sculpted over the original body casting using Milliput 2-part epoxy putty. I used bare metal foil as a barrier between the body casting and the epoxy to allow the new roof to be removed from the body casting after the epoxy had cured. One problem I found with the addition of the new roof was that the flip front could no longer open as the tab that came off the rear of the top was trapped by the roof. My solution for this was to remove the tab from the flip front and attach it to the rear body section. When this was completed, I found that I preferred the new location of the roof parting line over the original parting line. I always thought the front of the Harry Hauler looked unfinished and should have had some sort of grille to finish it off. So my next custom feature would be to create that grille. Measurements were taken from the casting and a new grille was designed using Fusion 360. The initial design was 3D printed for trial fitting, after which some adjustments were made to the CAD model, and the final version was then ready to be printed. After 3D printing, the finished grille was test fitted, cleaned up, and then chromed using a Molotow pen. I always felt the scoops on the side of the flip front detracted from the otherwise smooth lines of this casting. After seeing the new grille in place, I decided I was going to have to remove those scoops from my Tribute custom. I decided to use bearing-style wheels and axles on my Tribute, as they were easily found on eBay. The original Harry Hauler featured cap-style wheels, with a unique dual wheel design in the rear, but replacements for these dual wheels could not be found, so if my Tribute build was to have dual rear wheels, I would need to create my own. My plan for replicating the dual rear wheels was to reshape the rear bearing axle to widen the track, then 3D print a ring that would fit the back of the bearing wheel and simulate the cap-style dual wheel. This worked out well, and with the rings printed in black resin, they didn't even need to be painted. Because I wanted red tinted windows on my custom, I made a mold from the windshield I had purchased on eBay and cast a copy in transparent red resin. The theme for this custom would require Landau irons on the new roof. Fortunately, I had cast several sets in pewter for a project many years ago, and was able to find a suitable set in my spare parts stash. Holes were drilled in the new roof to fit the Landau irons, which were then set aside until after the roof was painted. The origin of the Landau iron began when a horse-drawn coach builder in the city of Landau, Germany, created a convertible topped coach. He designed an external S-shaped hinge to support the roof when it was up. This design was quickly adopted by other coach builders. The functional Landau iron would find its way onto the convertible tops of many early motor cars. Eventually, the functional Landau iron would fade away, only to be brought back as a decorative flourish on luxury vehicles. They are most commonly found today on funeral vehicles. The new roof for my Harry Hauler Tribute was painted to give it the appearance of black textured vinyl. This was accomplished by applying multiple light coats of primer from a distance to create the base texture, then applying satin black paint with a similar technique until the desired texture was obtained. After the paint was dry, the Landau irons were reinstalled. Here's a quick look back at the original Harry Hauler casting. And this is how my Harry Hauler hearse tribute turned out. The body was painted with Duplicolor Universal Black Metallic. I like this color as it is a very fine-grained metal flake that has a slightly golden hue. Other modifications and details that I added include a custom decal on the driver's seat that simulates bolsters, custom taillight decals, relocated exhaust tips made from wire ferrules, Thanks for watching. I hope you like the build.